Good afternoon, class. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Today we will be learning how to create a flyer for advertisement. So first, can anybody tell me what a flyer is? Okay, why would somebody create a flyer? Okay, and where might you see a flyer at? Right, around the streets or something. So if you're trying to advertise a product or you want people to attend an event you're having, creating a flyer is a great way to do so. To become an effective advertiser, you will need to know how to create a flyer. So today, we're just going to do a little activity, and I'm going to hold up a couple flyers, and you're just going to tell me what might the flyers be for. So here's the first one. It's for fun face painting. Okay, yeah, this is for a kids event. Of course, adults will be there too. And here's the next one. Basketball tournament. So it's going to be advertising a sporting event. And here's the last one. Yes, this will be for a product. So, has anyone ever created a flyer? Okay. Has anybody even just seen a flyer before? Okay, good. What did the flyer say? And it was trying to get you to do something, right? Right, it wanted you to buy their product. So today, let's jump into how to create a flyer for advertisement. So now I'm going to show you how to create a flyer from start to finish, and the flyer we'll be creating today is for a ODU football game. So first you're going to want to add your title, then your graphics, then your details about the event. So when you're done creating your flyer, it should look something like this. So now I'm going to go through and show you and tell you how to create a flyer for advertisement. So the first step is to pick the layout, the message, and the size. For the size, it's always going to be for a flyer a normal paper size, which is 8.5 by 11. For the message, you want to answer the questions what, where, and when, and you want to keep the message simple. And the layout can be pretty much anything you want as long as it's neat and organized and people can read it easy. And then the next step will be to write the headline. You want to make sure your headline is simple and big. It should be no more than 5 words, and it should be centered on the page. The lettering should be bigger than any other size on the flyer, because you want most people to be able to read it quickly, and they might not bother read it if it's too wordy. And it would be beneficial to use color so it'll get their attention. So for my flyer, I wrote ODU football, big letters, and it's in blue. And then I added underneath, come support your Old Dominion Monarchs as they take on Marshall. And they don't necessarily have to read this to understand what the event is. It's just to add in if they want to know more detail about it. So next you want to add a picture or a graphic, because you want to give the reader something to look at. And people usually remember things better if there's a graphic or image associated with it. You want to make sure that the image is appropriately set on the flyer. You want people to see that you thought about where it was going to go, instead of it being look like it's off-centered or kind of sideways if it doesn't look like it's supposed to be sideways. And you want to only use one big image so it doesn't look too cluttered, but if you have to use 2, that's fine. Just make sure it's set properly. And then the next step is to add a description below the picture. Once you've got the reader hooked, they will want details. You want to make the description as detailed as possible, but it should stay within 2 to 3 lines so people don't have to spend too much time reading about it. And then you want to, as your next step, add contact information. If it's important for people to contact you, then you can add in your name and your phone or email. Or you can use the tear off method, which is having the phone number sideways and then cut so people can just rip it off. But for a football event, I don't need to personally give my phone number. I'm just going to add where they can get their tickets at. But if you are personally doing a event like your band is putting on a show, you might want to give them your phone number or email so they can personally contact you. And then the next step is to take a look at your flyer and make sure it works. So I'm gonna, put my flyer up on a door and take a couple steps back to make sure it looks good. So now that I put my flyer on the wall, I'm gonna take a couple steps back to look at it. And everything looks good, the letters look big, and it gets my attention. And so after you look at it, you kind of want to get someone that hasn't seen it before to look at it and get their opinion on it. And the next step after that is to make copies. Once your flyer is complete and you tested it, you can print as many copies as you need. A little tip, if you don't want to print it out in color, like the words like I did, you can leave it blank and then just get a blue pen and write out, ODU football game in big letters in blue so you can save that ink. And then the last step is to post your flyer. You want to put your flyers where people that you want to come to your event will see it. So the people that I want to come to my event, of course, are ODU students. So I'm going to post a flyer around campus and on the close surrounding areas of campus where off-campus students live. Now that I showed you from start to finish how to create a flyer, are there any questions on what I just covered? No? Alright. So show of hands, how many students think that they can now create a flyer? Good, everyone. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions just to check for understanding. Why is it important to keep the message simple? Right. You want to keep it simple because adding too many words might not get people to come read your flyer. Why should you use color in a flyer? Good. To get people drawn in to come and read it. Last question. What is the maximum amount of lines you should add in the description part of your flyer? No one? Okay, well, it was 2 to 3 lines. So now I want you guys to practice. I want you to get in groups of 3 or 4, and I'm going to give each of you a standard size of a flyer, which is 8.5 and 11 size paper. And I want you to create a flyer for the next home football game. And you guys can get on the computers to find a picture to put in your flyer and to research the details of the event, including the location and the time. And I'll be walking around to help anybody if they need it or if they have any questions. Now I'm going to do a quick review with you on how to create a flyer. Step 1 was to pick your layout, your size, and your message. Step 2 was to write a headline, and you want to make sure that headline was big and colorful and had no more than 5 words to it. Step 3 was to add a picture or graphic, and I suggested to keep it to 1, but if you need to add 2, that's fine. You just don't want it to look cluttered. Step 4 was to add a description, and you want to keep that limited to 2 or 3 lines so it's not too wordy, and you just want to get your message across in a simple manner. Step 5 was to add contact information. A phone or email will suffice. For mine, I did not put a contact information for me personally. I just put a place where the people who want to attend the event can get tickets by doing that online, or I put a phone number that they can call. Step 6 was to make sure the flyer works. Put it up on a wall, take a couple steps back to make sure everything looks good, and then have someone look at it that hasn't seen it before to get their thoughts and opinion on it. Step 7 was to make copies, and step 8 was to post the flyer where you want people who will see it that you want to attend your event will see it. And then for evaluation, I'm going to have each of you create your own flyer for any event that you want. So in conclusion, last week we learned how to create a billboard. This week we learned how to create a flyer, and next week we will learn how to create an ad on social media. I hope everybody enjoyed today's lesson and found it useful for the future. And I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.